Previously on the Bus Inspectors podcast, the nation's historic fleet of 10,000 vintage buses and coaches. Why we love vintage buses.
Buses and coaches aren't just a static object.
You're sitting up there, you're route master, master of the road.
There's your interaction with the conductor.
People remember the colours of the buses if they're old enough, to remember what they were like in the 60s and 70s.
Not to mention the fantastic view that you can get from inside the bus as you travel along.
The changing priorities of the generations when it comes to heritage.
So this bus is a 2000 model, which makes it 24 this year. I am 4 years younger than the bus.
The old story is, of course, I remember going to school on that. Well, they didn't go to school on AEC Rodeos. They went to school on darts and Olympians and things.
These buses need to be preserved because they are what we're going to remember in 50 years' time,
And how the Bus Inspectors project to grade the nation's historic fleet could help us in the future.
If I have some worries about the future, is that we won't be able to save everything.
We want to be able to show the way they have evolved mechanically, operationally, and indeed how they've evolved within a social context to meet the needs of the passengers that they carry.
Working out which ones most deserve to be in collections for the future is a really sensible thing to do.
Previously on the Bus Inspectors podcast.
They turned to me one day and said, "We're buying a bus."
The pioneers of preservation, who rescued many of the vintage buses we treasure today.
He decided that he had to buy one of these buses when he left school. Exeter Corporation would not sell to private individuals. Dad managed to find out who had bought the 6, and he had to meet somebody down a back street in Exeter and then purchase it off of them.
Where do you keep a vintage bus?
Storage is the bus preservationist's biggest problem.
Winkley was used for a pig store, actually, the shed was back in 1965.
These pioneers remortgaged their houses in order to provide a safe home for the vehicle.
And the Bus Inspectors took us on their travels on a mission to grade the nation's historic fleet.
Whenever you're applying for external funding, now you only have to say, this is where we are in the NATAM list of vehicles that have been graded on their part in the story, to what extent they're unique, working out which ones are special and why, and then making some effort to make sure they are the ones that live into the 5th and 6th decades of the 21st century. I think that's probably a really sensible thing to do, isn't it?
Episode 3 of the Bus Inspectors podcast.
They love the liveries and the smell, everything about it, the look of it, the shape, and people just find it fascinating.
The importance of celebrating heritage in today's bus industry.
It's something they've come to expect from a Delane vehicle. An island of tranquility in an ever-changing sea.
All aboard for a trip to Route Master 70.
Anywhere you go in the world, you say London bus, people go, Route Master.
Why have so many Route Masters survived?
There are something like 1,600 Route Masters out of the 2,893 built. It's implausible that they can all survive the next 50 years.
And what does the future hold?
The Big Red Bus Bar. Bus Bar! Find us on Facebook.
Working out which ones most deserve to be in collections for the future is a really sensible thing to do.
Claire, who owns 3 Leyland Nationals.
They've got a very distinctive clattery sound, especially on tick over.
3 of the same, or each one special?
It's special to us because of all the good days out we've had, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the good times, the bad times, the breakdowns.
The Bus Inspectors podcast.
It's a brilliant advertisement for the work that the National Association of Road Transport Museums has started about a grading and star system for old PSVs.
Listen now to episode 3 of the Bus Inspectors podcast.
It isn't just the enthusiasts who love this stuff.
At thebusinspectors.com.
Buses are part of society, they're part of people's lives, and people like to see these older ones.